woman, a mother of faith. Yeah, a mother of faith has the moment. Tomorrow's going to take care of itself. Yesterday you can do absolutely nothing about. But what we have is right now, and a mother of faith operates on some now faith. It's ironic where unbelievers look at God and they reference God as though he's an afterthought. They talk about him in the past tense. They talk about things that happened many, many years ago, as though God is still not on the throne, as though God is still not in control, as though God still does not hold all power in his hand, as though God does not sit high and look low, and they refer to him and they talk about him in the past. But one thing about a mother of faith, she knows without a shadow of a doubt that what she has more than anything else, she has a right now God. Yeah. Her family may not be around her, but she has a right now God. Things may not always look promising, but she knows that she has a right now God. There may be trouble in the land, but mama can lay down and sleep at night. Why? Because mama knows that she has a right now God. Can I get a witness here today that you happy that you had a mother of faith that didn't deal with yesterday, they're not worried about tomorrow, but she knew without a shadow of a doubt that she had some now faith. She had the moment, and she had what we call a right now God. When we look at this text, God once again has proven his ability to take care of man. He proves it when he closes up the windows of heaven. He closes up the windows of heaven, and rain does not fall on the land for more than 3 years. He closes it up so much so that a drought takes over the land, and famine enters the land, and he does that because he's showing the power that he has by working through the prophet Elijah. When he tells King Ahab there will be no rain until God sends rain again. There will be no rain until I said that it is rain. And so the famine enters the land, and because of the famine, livestock dies. Because of the famine, crops dry up. Because of the famine, people suffer and people die. But when it comes to Elijah, aren't you glad that God's hand is still on Elijah? And when it comes to him, God tells him to go to the brook of Cherith, where he can have water every single day. And not only does he send him to the brook, but he tells him that I have commanded a raven. I've commanded ravens to bring you meat and bread in the morning, and bring you meat and bread in the evening. And isn't it ironic that God can take a nasty bird like a raven and still allow him to take care of his man of God? You see, that's why the Bible says that his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. And the thing that we have to realize is that the bird didn't bring a carcass. He didn't bring something from a dead livestock. What he did is he brought meat and bread to Elijah that God had prepared for him, and he sustained him. He sustained him. Why? Because God has all power. Yeah, he has all power in his hand. But then the brook dries up. But that wasn't the end of the story. The brook dries up, but don't you know God always has another way? I don't care what situation you find yourself in, God has another way. And the brook dries up, and he tells Elijah, he said, I want you to go to Zarephath. And in Zarephath, you'll find a widow woman that I've already talked with and given her the command that she's going to sustain you. She's going to take care of you. And when you look at this 17th chapter of Kings, of 1 Kings, a lot of times the emphasis is put on Elijah and doing what the Lord tells him to do. A lot of times it's the obedience of Elijah that's highlighted. But when you look in between the lines, you have to understand something, that the widow of Zarephath, that mother mother had something to do, had a relationship, even though she was a heathen, even though she was a Gentile, even though in the eyes of man she had no relationship with God. It was something about her, and I'm here to tell you today that it doesn't matter what your pedigree is. It doesn't matter what side of the track you were born on. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. When God lays his hands on you, there's nothing, absolutely nothing too hard for God. And so how many of you know that when God sends us, that we have to obey and we just got to leave the rest to him? You know, in our prayer power, in our prayer closet, you know, the thing that God never does when we in our prayer closet, he never comes in and say, how do you want me to deal with this situation? God already has it worked out. And the thing that we have to understand that about a mother of faith, she doesn't live on man's explanations. A mother of faith lives on the promises of God. When you can stand on the promises of God, it doesn't matter what things look like in life. It doesn't matter what is going on in your world. It doesn't matter what kind of storm that you're dealing with. When you stand on the promises of God, you know that everything will be all right. I got some news for you today. How did a mother of faith make it? She stood on the promises that the Lord was her shepherd and he shall not want. See, how did a mother of faith make it? She stood on the promises of God that said, ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. How did the mother of trouble? She said she stood on the promises where it says, call unto me and I'll answer thee. And show thee great and mighty things, that you know not. When you look at a mother of faith is protective. Look at verse number 12. Verse 12, it says, and she said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal and a barrel and a little cruse of oil. And behold, I'm gathering 2 sticks, that I may go and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and that we may die. You know, what this mother had, what this widow woman had, was that she what she had was the fact that she was just going to make this cake for her and her son, and there's something about a protective mother, whether it's a human or whether it's a bird or whether it's an animal. It's something about a mother. Demetrius was talking the other day about how he went to try and clean his gutters out of his house, and somewhere near that gutter was a bird nest, and that mother, as big as Demetrius is, and as small as that bird is, she didn't care anything about how big he was. He didn't care anything about the possibility that he could crush her with his hands or crush her with his feet or take a stick and destroy her. That mother bird attacked this grown man. Why? Because there's something about a mother that it doesn't matter what the obstacle is. A mother is going to be protective of her child. And so she says here that she's making a statement of protection. She says, I'm going to make a cake so that me and my son can eat it and die. There's something about a mother. A mother will give her last of anything that she has. A mother will give her last of everything that she has for her child. Even to the one that breaks her heart, the mother will still provide and protect that child. You know, it's something about the whole family can give up on that child. And I think all of us got one in our family. It may not be your immediate family, but it could be a cousin. It could be a third cousin, a distant relative. But we all got one in the family that at the family reunion, everybody has an opinion. It ain't worth a quarter. I wouldn't spend a dime on them. But it's something about a mother of faith that even the one that breaks her heart, even the one that lets her down, even the one that causes pain, she will still protect that child because that mother has the ability to hold out and know that one day if she keeps going down on her knees, know that one day if she keeps stretching her hand toward heaven, know that one day if she keeps crying out to God, it doesn't matter what condition that child is in, doesn't matter how many times she's let her down, it doesn't matter how many tears she's shed, it doesn't matter how many nights she stayed up wondering what's going on. She knows that because she has the power and the promises of God, that if she will just continue to call on God, one day that child's going to be all right. Yeah, even the experts talk about a mother. Experts say that if you really want to know, if you want to know what it means to experience the true love of Christ, the closest thing that we can find to demonstrate the true love of Christ is the love that a mother has for her child. Even when the world gives up on them, mama going to hold out and know that everything is going to be all right. I mean, some of us in here, people have written us off, have thrown in the towel, have canceled us out, have prophesied and predicted that we wouldn't live, that we wouldn't make it, we wouldn't amount to anything. But it's something about a mother's prayers. And you say, well, maybe I didn't know my mother. Well, you had a big mama that was praying. You had an auntie that was praying. You had a mother figure in your life that was praying. And they knew how to call on God. And even when the world gives up on you, it's something about the faith of a mother that everything is going to be all right. You know, when you look at this woman of Zarephath, she wasn't being selfish when it came to her child, when she said, I'm going to make a cake for me and my son, and we're going to eat it and die. But what she was doing, she had vowed that she would protect her child even unto death. You know that in some cases they won't even let a mother, when a child has committed a crime, they won't file perjury charges on a mother that goes and testifies for that child, because there's something about the overwhelming love that mother has for that child that even the world recognizes that. We see a mother of faith will always trust God. In verse 15, it says, and she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. In other words, Elijah told her, he says, go and make a cake. Now, all she has is a handful of meal. All she has is a little bit of oil, just enough to make one cake for her and her son. But it was something about the way the man of God talked to her that he told her, go and make me a cake first and then make one for yourself. And during this famine that God will sustain you. And when a mother of faith will trust God, what this mother learned, it was that God, what God could do with an empty vessel. God doesn't need any material. God doesn't need any product. He can operate out of nothing. Maybe that's why Big Mama, when she used to pray, and she would pray, she said, Lord, I come to you as an empty pitcher before a full fountain. What Big Mama was saying was that God, even though I'm empty, it's something about your power. It's something about your mercy. It's something about your grace that you can pour something into me that lets me know that everything will be all right. And when you know that you will trust in God, what she knows is that nothing in the hand of God is more than enough. Can I get a witness here today that you know that God doesn't need anything in his hand to make anything happen? If you don't believe me, let me just call a roll here. God took nothing and called time into existence. God took nothing and created the heavens and the earth. God took nothing and created every living thing. God took nothing and made man out of nothing. And when you put nothing in the hands of God, when you put nothing in his hand, it's the power of